Brexit breakthrough, Brussels thaws as May hunts crunch concessions, but is it real exit? Theresa May has stepped up her push for fresh assurances from the EU about her Brexit deal amid reports Brussels chiefs are ready to help her win a crunch Commons vote. The Prime Minister spoke to European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker about possible clarifications to the controversial backstop mechanism. Their telephone conversation followed reports that cabinet ministers are expecting the EU to offer a guaranteed limit on the backstop before the so-called meaningful vote at Westminster in the week beginning January 14. A Brussels source described their exchange as friendly and said the pair were due to talk again next week. But senior Tories fear the assurance will fall far short of demands from Tory Eurosceptic rebels and the Prime Minister's parliamentary allies in the Democratic Unionist Party. It means Mrs May still faces a massive challenge to persuade a majority of MPs to support her deal in the vote. A Downing Street spokesman said, "We want assurances and are working to get them." A report said the EU was ready to promise that it did not want to keep the UK permanently in the backstop, a temporary customs link designed to guarantee an open border between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic. A declaration could say that triggering the backstop was not the desired outcome or the contingency measure will operate only for a short period. An anonymous cabinet source was quoted by the Times newspaper as saying, "The Commission made very clear privately before the Christmas break that there will be something helpful coming in the week before the vote. They were never going to give it early, at December Council, because what they are offering won't be massive and they don't want to overplay their hand." The newspaper also reported the source as saying the expected offer was being referred to in Whitehall as Operation Fig Leaf because it was seen as a puny attempt to cover up the shortcomings of the Brexit deal agreed between the UK and EU negotiating teams last year. Tory MP Andrew Bridgen, a Leave campaigner and frequent critic of the Prime Minister's Brexit plans, said, "Whatever Brussels offers will not be enough. It is not just a question of the backstop. The whole deal is flawed. It is time to go for a clean, no-deal break with the EU. We won't be crashing out, we will be cashing in because we would not be handing over a £39 billion divorce fee for nothing in return." Mr May's hopes of winning the meaningful vote suffered a further blow on Thursday when DUP MP Sammy Wilson said his party was still planning to oppose her deal. Mr Wilson, the DUP Brexit spokesman, told BBC Radio 4's Today programme, "It's not just because of the regulations which Northern Ireland would be subject to with the backstop, but also the fact we would have to treat the rest of the United Kingdom as a third country. We would not participate in any trade deals which the United Kingdom may enter into in the future, and we would find that there would be a border down the Irish Sea, which would impede trade with our biggest trading partner, namely GB." Mr Wilson said Northern Ireland farmers and businesses should be totally relaxed by the prospect of a no-deal Brexit. He added, "They should be more worried about this deal because this deal is going to keep them tied to EU regulations, it's going to cut them off from the GB market where we send 60% of our exports and it's going to stop us participating in UK trade deals in the future." DUP Deputy Leader Nigel Dodd said the party's opposition to Irish border backstop proposals had not lessened after a meeting with the Prime Minister at Downing Street on Thursday. Irish Premier Leo Varadkar, a key figure in the row over the backstop, on Thursday, said he expected a Brexit deal to be finalised within weeks. "I still expect that we will have a deal in the next few weeks. But it is only prudent of course that as every day passes that we intensify preparations for no deal and that is very much what Ireland is doing," he said during a visit to Germany. MPs had expected the meaningful vote to take place before Westminster's Christmas break. But Mrs May postponed the showdown 2 days before the expected division last month amid warnings of a massive rejection by MPs. Her allies insist she will try again if her deal is voted down in the Commons. One MP loyal to Mrs May said, "She's likely to lose the vote first time around but could try again if the margin of defeat is not too big. A few minds could begin to change if the first vote is tight." The Prime Minister has invited all Tory backbenchers to drinks parties in Downing Street next week to try to persuade them to back her deal. An unnamed cabinet minister was quoted by The Times as saying, "She will lose the first vote but then try again once, but hopefully not more than twice." The newspaper quoted another cabinet source as saying, "Her first instinct will be to hold another vote." Mrs May is expected to relaunch a New Year fight back today by switching the focus to the NHS. She is likely to take part in a high-profile broadcast interview to highlight the government's 10-year funding plan for health services.